Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Entertaining Minds of Complicated People. I am Marcus, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Harry and David.
Hello.
Hello.
On today's episode, we are going to be talking about God of War Ragnarok and PlayStation-based TV shows and movies. So, let's start off today's episode by talking about CD Projekt Red and legal action that investors are taking against them. So, according to Games Radar, Rosen Law in New York filed for damages on behalf of investors who purchased shares in 2020. In the statement, they said, according to the lawsuit, defendants throughout the class period made false and/or misleading statements and/or failed to disclose that 1. Cyberpunk 2077 was virtually unplayable on the current generation Xbox or PlayStation systems due to an enormous number of bugs. 2. As a result, Sony would remove Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store, and Sony and Microsoft and CD Projekt Red would be forced to offer full refunds for the game. 3. Consequently, CD Projekt Red would suffer reputational and financial harm. As a result, defendants' statements about its business operations and prospects were materially false and misleading and/or lacked a reasonable basis at all relevant times. So, essentially, the investors have said that CD Projekt Red lied pretty much throughout the process, and the game was never actually ready. And so these people poured money into pretty much a vacuum cleaner, just sucked up all the money and not really anywhere else for it to go, except back in the trash. So I personally think that they had this coming. It's happened to EA, it's happened to Bethesda after Fallout 76. And so it was bound to happen to Cyberpunk when it was hyped up massively, had so many delays. It was inevitable that there was going to be a lawsuit coming out of this. It's a shame that people felt this way and felt they had to sue, but at the same time, if I were an investor, I'd have probably done the same because I do not like the idea of losing all my hard-earned cash on a game that failed to really make much money, because even if it did turn a profit, all that profit would have been quashed at them as, well, they had to give out a lot of refunds. And so I don't really think CD Projekt will recover from this in the short term. Long term, they would have to really fix their game and sort of bounce back. But it's even taken Bethesda quite a long time to come back from Fallout 76. And quite frankly, I don't think they've come back from it yet. And so with a company as big as Bethesda still struggling to gain its a good reputation and get its old reputation back, I think it will take CD Projekt significantly longer to do so. And I don't think this spells the end for CD Projekt in any way, but I do think this will make them think more carefully about what they're going to do in the future. Opinions, David?
This is the thing. They promised something. They promised a product, and they showed it off like it was going to be really great. And unfortunately, it wasn't. And now they're giving out the refunds. So that's the good part. But apparently, the game itself is just really slow. So I don't think they're going to be making much money off it just purely because of the graphics are good now. Because if a game's not good, it doesn't really matter how good the graphics are. I mean, obviously, I can't actually think of a comparison off the top of my head of recent years, but what we were looking for from this game, from Cyberpunk, was quality of the open world, other than and not the quality of the, oh, look how pretty this building is, something like that. We wanted to have a good open world game that could really launch us into the new generation, and not a pretty game that looked nice for an hour.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It can be a game can be aesthetically pleasing and it can be practical, but you're right, when someone puts so much detail into one little flower, but the entire game, the entire budget is wasted on that one flower, and the rest of the game is pretty terrible. There was no point in trying to make everything look nice if the game can't perform. You have to find that balance between the two. And I definitely think Harry can agree with me on that as well. I think I think he really does understand, don't you, Harry?
Yeah, I completely agree with both, but I will say that they spent all this time on previous gen now, and they would have had to then right at the end have to try and get everything they've done on here onto the next gen as well, which can put extra workload.
Yeah.
So if they had delayed it another time, I would have been completely fine with it, because trying to get all of that onto the next gen means you're going to get a lot more bugs that weren't there before. And then when that happens, I would have thought that code, if it was then transferred onto previous gen, it would also carry over the same bugs. So it might not have been buggy when they had it on the previous gen, but transferring it over might have been the downfall.
Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying there. Like they made it for previous gen, and then if they'd released it on time, then it wouldn't have needed a next gen upgrade as quickly, and they would have had time to have done it. But then they released it pretty much bang on the release of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, which it was, I think the timing was pretty terrible, to be honest, with launching. Like, yes, there's a lot of hype for this game and hype for new consoles and hype for gaming in general, but it was never ready for previous gen. I don't know if it's even been released on next gen yet, but you're right in that if there are bugs on the old versions, will they need to add a patch to the newer versions if they've already been shipped out, or will they have to delay the new versions if they haven't gone out already? And I think that will probably cause them even more trouble. And everyone hates day one patches for games. And you know that if a game has a day one patch, then it was never ready to be shipped. Because there are so many instances of games not being ready, being shipped in an incomplete state, and then having to download an update straight away just because that's all the added content that they've added between the time that it's taken to release the game and the game to actually get to you. So, talking of games, hopefully we can have a better release of Breath of the Wild 2. So it seems that the Legend of Zelda game is getting a sequel. And according to Tech Radar, it is one of the most anticipated games coming to the Switch. And it was first announced at E3 in 2019. And it is most likely to be released in 2021, which will be the 35th anniversary of the franchise. I have high hopes for the Legend of Zelda games. I'm not gonna lie, never played one myself. I'm more of a Mario person. But that being said, I can appreciate the world of Zelda. Like, I've seen gameplay of it, and I think this goes back to what David and I were saying about aesthetics. The game plays well and it looks good. And I personally think that is sort of what you need to strive for when it comes to gaming, and especially when it's done so perfectly on a console that really only does 30 FPS. And if you could make something look that good at 30 FPS, like imagine if you get like another Switch or another Nintendo console released soon. I mean, they'll probably port it over, and if they do, imagine it at like 60 FPS or something, because that'd be nice.
I'm a pretty
Yeah.
big Zelda fan. I had the first Breath of the Wild. Well, actually, technically, I didn't. I borrowed it from my cousin, but it's a really good game. I finished it.
What would you think they would have in Breath of the Wild 2 then? How do you think they could continue the story?
Okay, personally, I didn't know about the Breath of the Wild 2 until I read the notes. So, and I've not really watched many. So of course I've not seen many theory videos about plot. But if it's anything like the first one, I'm pretty excited. Yeah. Yeah. So the first one, as we were saying before, with Cyberpunk, delivered aesthetically and story wise, it was really really good. I thought it was really what's the word? It flowed very nice. There wasn't any bits where it felt like it was going slowly. And I think it was open world as well.
Yeah, it was.
That was an addition. But yeah, I really like that game. I had it on my Nintendo Switch. Finished it within a week. It was a really fun game. Really fun game. So I'm pretty excited for the new one. But yeah, I'll probably have to read more on it because I don't really know much about it, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm looking at the trailer, and a lot of it does seem like you would understand more if you'd played the first game. So it a lot of the probably shock moments or like, ooh, can't wait for that. It doesn't really, like it doesn't really speak to me the way it would to fans of the series. And the title of this video is simply sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that's it. So I'm assuming Breath of the Wild 2 is a working title. They'll probably get a new title for it. And again, open world, it looks like, which I think is now sort of the industry standard when it comes to these sort of games, these adventure games. I think people are expecting them to be open world because that's what we've become accustomed to in recent years, such as Skyrim, Fallout 4, even more recently, unfortunately, Cyberpunk didn't do well. But again, Cyberpunk, you've got Watch Dogs franchise, and you've got tons of other really good open world games. And I think the only games that I know of that still do well that aren't open world are Call of Duty, and that's just because it's already a well established franchise. And I think there are exceptions to the rule, such as Cuphead, which just was done so masterfully. I don't think many people are interested in non-open world games. And I'm sure there'll be a time when we'll be like, oh, I'm sick of open world games, I want something new. But for now, this is the industry standard, and this is the way it looks like it's always going to be. I think Breath of the Wild 2 could be a major success for Nintendo. And commenting on the console wars, which apparently is still a thing, although I really don't think many people care about it anymore. I mean, I am still one of those people that will say PlayStation is better than Xbox. Granted, Xbox has some good things. PlayStation has some good things as well. I just I've had PlayStation more, and I think it works better. My personal opinions, but I think Nintendo. I really admire what they've been doing, and they've been off to the side working on their own games, and because of this, their games never really disappoint. You got Breath of the Wild, you got Super Mario Odyssey, you've got Breath of the Wild 2, which is coming out soon. Then you got the Mario 3D All Stars, which, by the way, absolutely brilliant. I'm replaying Super Mario Galaxy on 3D All Stars because I got Super Mario Galaxy for the Wii, and I have Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Wii. But and I actually started playing it not long ago on the Wii, and then I got it for my Switch, and oh my god, it is just the game it's the game I remember.
Yeah, that's the good thing about Nintendo. While PlayStation and Xbox like have their own little fights, Nintendo just stays quiet, puts out consistent good games every year, and just does well. Not to the point where they are exceeding PlayStation and Xbox. Obviously not. But just to the point where they're putting out good games, and it doesn't need to exceed anyone's expectation. It's just a good game to play, have fun, sit down and just relax. We've got Animal Crossing that had a huge resurgence this year, and it's actually a pretty good game. So that's just props to Nintendo on that.
Oh yeah. Nintendo, I really admire what they've been doing, and they're not concerned with buying up studios. They're off there in the background making their own games. And while we have this flurry of games releasing left, right, and center, Nintendo just have games released when they get released, and people are happy to see them. And I think the only major disappointment in most recent years from Nintendo was the Wii U. And the only reason why I'm really upset about the Wii U is because it spelled the end of the Wii franchise as a whole. Because Nintendo go through these naming conventions where you'll have like the NES, then you'll have the SNES, which is all Nintendo Entertainment Systems, and then you move on to like the DS, 3DS, 2DS, DS XL, and then you've got the Wii, the Wii U, and I think you could have had the Wii handheld or something like that, which would have been the Nintendo Switch. But I think Nintendo went back to the drawing board with the Wii U and were like, right, what did work and what didn't work? And they were like, well, we liked the idea that you can play on your TV. We like the idea you can do this. We like the handheld aspect. So what we're going to do, reinvent the Wii U. And that's pretty much what they did, and the Switch was born. They made a console that you can play on your TV, play handheld, and honestly, I just admire Nintendo. I really think, as David said as well, they don't do as well as PlayStation or Xbox, but the spirit's there, and they still consistently they are consistently up there with the best consoles. And yeah, I mean, when I look at the statistics for the best selling consoles, they may not be necessarily at the top, but they do dominate the list. Keeping in line with big game releases, we now move back onto PlayStation, and this time it is one of their exclusives. And this exclusive is God of War Ragnarok. I am going to be the first one to admit, I am not a fan of God of War. The world building is beautiful, the game itself is great, but it is not my cup of tea when it comes to gaming. I think there are so many better PlayStation exclusives, but this has a massive following behind it, and a lot of people love God of War and are really excited for God of War Ragnarok. So
You've hurt me there, Marcus.
I'm sorry. I know it's
Two
not
game franchises I grew up on.
it's
Uncharted
not a bad game. Like
and
the
God of War. That is
yeah. Wow. I'm gonna be the first one to admit I've never played an Uncharted game, and
Oh, I'm leaving. I don't want to be on the podcast anymore. See you later, Harry. Have a good time. Yeah, peace. How have you never played an Uncharted game and you call yourself
Okay,
a PlayStation person?
David.
Jesus. Go.
I'm also with Marcus on that.
Yeah,
part.
but you have a PlayStation 3 currently, right? And you've only
No.
had a PlayStation 3. I mean, you have an
No.
Xbox.
Yes, first of all.
he has a
We do have a
PlayStation 4, but he doesn't play
PlayStation
it.
4. Yeah.
Oh, you have a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
He just didn't play it.
It's downstairs.
Okay, and
It's
what other-
downstairs in the living room,
and
and we just.
How
I
many
can't.
PlayStations have you owned?
Well, there's that one, and then the PlayStation 2.
Okay, in
PlayStation
my
2.
prime, 7 to 10 years old. That's my prime gaming years. I was playing. I played all the first 3 Uncharted games, God of War 1, 2. When I like a few years ago, like maybe when I was 12, I had God of War Ragnarok. Oh, not Ragnarok. What was the other one? What was the fourth one? I think it was just God of War. I can't remember. But the one with the boy was boy. You know that one.
Yeah.
You know the reference.
Yes.
You know, and those were the games I played. I only played them because I even had the PlayStation Vita and the PSP. I had
the Vita.
on
didn't have that.
PSP, but you know, I was just playing these games. I was playing the hell out of them. I repeated it. I only played those games, and I swear to you, they're some of the best sequences in those games. The quick time events of God of War and the like chase scenes in Uncharted are unbeatable, unmatched. Those are the best games. If you are truly a PlayStation fan, you will go back and you will play these games. They are amazing.
Right.
David.
But anyway, back to God of War.
You can't
Go
that
ahead.
you're not a true PlayStation fan unless you've played these. Fans of any sort of console can like whatever games they want. Does it matter
Wow.
what games they like?
If we're gonna have this argument about you're not a true fan unless you've played, you're not a true PlayStation player unless you've played Buzz.
Buzz. Okay,
I
played Buzz. I've played Buzz.
You played Buzz.
Marcus,
I had on
do
my
you
PlayStation
want
3.
more people to go to
my
the
PlayStation
PlayStation fan base and go, I want to join this. I've bought
Harry,
this
Harry,
console. Do you
Harry,
want that? Then
Harry,
don't do
they
this.
don't have to be fans if they're not claiming they don't have to claim fans like real life huge fans. They just have to say, oh yeah, I like PlayStation. Unless you are claiming I'm a huge PlayStation fan, then you have to have the knowledge. That's when you bring out the big guns. You bring out Crash.
Okay.
You
This
bring
is
out
this game's old.
Ratchet and Clank. You bring
Oh.
out
This one's old, but it's
Bandicoot.
it's
I
off
already
of
said
a
that, but-
film. This one's off of from a film.
Okay, go on.
Tell me if either of you have played it. The Matrix
Wait.
Path of Neo. Have either of you played that? Look it up.
Yes.
That is a real game. You
Yes,
have played it?
on the PlayStation 1.
I
didn't
played it
play
on the PlayStation 2.
I watched.
I played it on the PlayStation
My
2.
uncle played it.
Years ago.
Right.
Free time.
Right.
That was
So
brilliant.
my
Just
childhood
played video games. That was
my childhood, right, consisted of Buzz. There was a game, I'm pretty sure it was called Monkey Party, and it used the Buzz buzzers. It was basically a Buzz Junior game. And honestly, yeah, Buzz Junior Jungle Party. There it is. And 2006, damn, 1 year after I was born, it was genuinely the highlight of my life. And oh my god,
Hmm.
these games are just
What
so
about Spider-Man 2 though?
right. So I never played when I was younger. I never played games that were above my age. So
Wow.
Okay.
what I was like really
Wow.
That
Oh, Mummy,
that's his parents' choice.
I'm only allowed to play threes. No, but for real, I didn't play
That's
GTA
the
until I was
parent.
like 15, so that's fair enough.
Yeah, GTA that can go away. Although
That's
I
fair
did
enough.
play Call of
But
Duty
I,
on the PlayStation 2 when I
what were
was
you,
very
what were you,
little.
actually, no, to be fair, I played GTA 4 when I was like 11. So, I mean, but
Yeah, I
GTA
played
4
it,
was
yeah,
not as
around
bad.
there.
Nowhere
No,
near as bad as
but
GTA
I
5.
mean,
Yeah.
the one thing that I would say that GTA 4 beats GTA 5 in, the physics. Like
Yeah, that's not really what I
that
was
was just
talking
like,
about. I was talking
but
about just general grit.
like
I mean, if you
blood,
want to talk grit,
gore.
we can talk Saints
Like
Row.
if you want to, go ahead, mate.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna talk like throwback video games that we played, then Tekken, that's a
Oh
classic.
God. Oh, don't bring that name
Did you
up
say
again.
Tekken? I remember spending
Yes,
weekends just playing Tekken with my
yes.
cousins. That is a
It's
classic
been a
game.
while. Yeah,
Marcus, tell me you
it's been
played
a long
Tekken.
time.
yeah.
You have.
Okay, yeah. It's been a while since
Name a
I've played it.
character from Tekken.
I've played it. Whether I can remember what is in
Oh
it is
God,
a
it's been years. And by
You
yeah.
can't name
years,
one character from Tekken.
ooh, how many years has been? One moment. It's been
Okay,
about 12-ish years since I first played it. Last time, 11 years. It's been a long time. I can't remember.
do you at least remember the name of the panda?
No.
No,
You don't. Oh, that's a shame.
no.
I mained the panda and the
Okay,
what was it, a
you do that.
tiger? Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yes, we
Back
are.
to
Heavily.
God of War. Yeah,
Yeah.
heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably should go back to, God of War. But
Hmm.
yeah, so God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, so according to GameStop, it's going to be returning soon. The next God of War is due to be released in 2021, although due to COVID-19, there is some doubts whether it will be released then. So it's not 100% confirmed, but it's more likely than not. New enemies to face in the game, and it is likely for release on PS5. We did cover this topic a couple weeks back, and we said that it will be released on PS4 and PS5, although still subject to change depending on how far in the PlayStation 5 schedule it releases and whether Sony start phasing out these games and move towards an all PS5 exclusives. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what it's going to be like, and I honestly felt like the first God of War. One reason why I didn't like it is because it felt way too linear. I hope they sort of really capitalize on the open world aspect on this game. Although, who knows, the linear sort of pathing could be something that people liked about the first God of War. Completely, entirely up to you. So anything else to say on this, guys?
Hope it does well. Much with other games. We saw what happened to Marvel Avengers.
Yeah, true. Okay, everyone, so we are just going to take a little break and we will be back in a short while. And after the break, we will be talking about new movies and TV shows by Sony based on their PlayStation games. And we will also be doing a top 100 quiz. We will see you after the break. And we are back after that break. And so now we are going to be talking about Sony's new movies and TV shows based on PlayStation games. So, as reported by GameSpot, it has been revealed by Sony Pictures CEO in an interview that 3 films and 7 TV shows are currently in progress, and working on it is the One Sony division, And basically, a lot of the other Sony companies, because God, if you actually look at the companies Sony owns, they own a massive amount of companies. It's happening all across these different companies, and they're all working together. And they would like to see. They said they'll be seeing a lot more integration of the Sony companies working together in the future, and it does suggest that something like this could also happen again. So I can't exactly tell you all of the things that are in development, but I do know there is an Uncharted movie, and I also know that there is the Last of Us TV series, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I personally think if it's done right and if it's done well and it's faithful to the video games, I think it'll do really well. But as a lot of companies found out the hard way, if you go off topic and if you go a bit like this podcast, really, if you go off topic and you don't stay true to what's actually there, then it can be a bit chaotic, and some people will love it, some people will hate it, and you got to stay true to the video games because, like, trust me, comic book fans get pissed off when comic books aren't listened to. Think about the millions of gamers who will be annoyed if Joel doesn't die. That's not really good. If Joel dies, but in the events of The Last of Us 1, I don't know. People will get annoyed. That's all I'm saying. I personally think this is going to be a really good move on Sony's part, and honestly, I think I really have a feeling that there's going to be something to do with God of War. But am I right in saying they recently made a God of War film?
No, I don't think they did. What?
No.
What? Where do you think?
Oh.
Where do you think the film's from?
I thought they made a God of War film. No.
No, I don't. I know that they've made like there's been like a fan art for it where they've got like Jason Momoa dressed up as what's his name as Kratos, but I don't think they've made one.
No, I haven't. Okay, my mistake. I have a really big feeling that one of them is either going to be a God of War movie or a God of War TV show, but I think it would probably be better in a movie. I think you guys could probably agree with me on that. There's a lot of Sony things I know, and I personally think that with all the IPs they own, they can make this work, and I really think it will be good. I really do truly believe that they will hit the nail bang on the head in some cases. I think there'll be one or two that will be slightly controversial, as always, but when you've got 10 things in development, I honestly would love to know how they're going to do it.
I'd say that can they do better than the people who made the Assassin's Creed film?
That was, oh my god, I turned
Oh
that off.
God, yeah, if
It was dreadful.
yeah, as long as it's better than that, I'm somewhat satisfied because you have all this you have all this stuff that you can put in to make a film about a really good franchise, and then they well f it up
Yeah,
that badly.
it was massive. It was,
Can we?
It was like the only piece of Assassin's Creed that we got
yeah,
for that year
it
because they
was.
took a break that year.
They focused way too much on the animus as well in the movie. Like, I
Like
hate the animus
have like
sequences
a
in the
few
game.
scenes. Have like a few scenes of it. That's what they do in the games.
Yeah,
Just like
it was
three or
just
four
pathetic.
scenes. That's it. Of it. Like, oh, you need to take a break here. You need to take a break there. Or oh, this is the animus. You go like you get taken into the mind of your ancestors and see what they do. And then, but instead they're like, oh, and they have like half the movie is about just the animus. It's like, why? We don't need to know. We want to see stabby stabby killy killy. That's it.
I mean, that's one way of putting it.
The hidden blade. That's the nickname that I gave it. Stabby stabby. That's what I called us the assassination. Stabby stabby. Don't ask why I called it that, but I did. It's just yeah, I went off on a
Anyone
tangent.
was asking
Jesus Christ.
actually.
Well, I mean, what are your opinions on this, David?
Well, there were rumors that Tom Holland was going to be casted as a young Nathaniel Drake, and that would be interesting to see. We've not really gotten much of young Nathan. We got a little bit of it in Uncharted 2, Uncharted 4. So this one, I'm assuming they're going to be in close contact with the developers of the video game, the writers, and they'll basically be talking about the lore, understanding it, and basically wanting to create a game that does right by the Uncharted franchise. And I'll be excited. I'm a huge fan of the Uncharted games. I thought there was rumors for Halo Chief.
Yeah, no, I know what
Master
you're about.
Chief, Master Chief, the TV show or movie. I wasn't sure. I thought it was going to be sort of a Mandalorian thing, but that would be interesting to see. So yeah, I mean, really, it's not up to whether or not they make them. It's really just whether or not they do it justice.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm putting it out there. We've had some pretty weird and wacky concepts for video game movies, and I'm putting it out there. Moshi Monsters movie scored an impressive 60% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 78% audience score. Like, I mean, the
Moshi
reviews for it.
Monsters was a good game, and I don't want to hear anything else. The movie was just as good. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, and I don't want to hear anything else.
I mean, fair enough. I would like to have seen a Ben Weevils movie, personally, my kind of thing.
A Ben Weevils movie. I mean, really pushing it with that. I mean, Club Penguin movie would have been like, well, let's take a step back, but a Ben Weevils movie. I mean,
There's a Moshi Monsters movie, like.
the thing is though, with Moshi Monsters, you can sort of muster up a bit of creativity, for a storyline there. With Ben Weevils, I mean, who are the characters? At least with Moshi Monsters, you've got main characters.
You've got loads of characters. You got Clem, Flem, Dosh. Don't even know how I still remember
I'm
these.
making up names. There's no way
No, I'm not.
there was actually
Flem,
main
Dosh.
characters in the Ben Weevils lore.
They were all named. I had like an entire card collection, like the Panini cards. I used to collect them, and I nearly filled up an entire book. And I could tell you at one point, if you gave me a card, I could tell you whether I had that card in my collection or not. I mean, I was dedicated, and I paid for the
This is
subscription
embarrassing.
service. I paid for the subscription service. I'm putting it out there.
This is not looking good for you. Everyone's gonna. Hey, look at this guy. He knows Ben Weevils. He knows canon of
Yeah.
us. What a weirdo.
It was a good game. Like I'm just saying, it's the servers are very dead now, and I'm pretty sure it is been put in its grave by Flash Player ending, which unfortunately as well has killed off some of our other favorite games, including the Impossible Quiz. Cheers. Yeah, it killed off some good games, but I'm just putting it out there though. I mean, back to Mushroom Monsters movie. There's some really interesting reviews like kids love this stuff. Apparently to them I can offer nothing by the way of critique. I can only speak to the parents and guardians of the target audience who have my deepest sympathies. That's from the Observer. And then you also got anyone over the age of 9 should avoid strenuously. And yeah, the tone and content are aimed squarely at the youngest end of Moshi Monsters spectrum. There's little or nothing here for the tween army who use the stationery and school bags. But then it's got some pretty okay reviews. I mean, 3 out of 5 ain't bad. And it's even enough to put a smile on adults' faces. And I'm just putting it out there, Birmingham Mail, that's for you, Nat. And also, the film was very enjoyable, and frankly, I'd like to see it again, and that's from The Guardian. I'm just saying, if you want to see the Moshi Monsters movie again, you might want to go get it checked out.
Yeah.
There's no way are you rated top critic on Rotten Tomatoes, and you want to see the damn Moshi Monsters film again. I would revoke that status.
There has to be a meme. There has to be a joke.
I really hope so. But yeah, anyway, back to what we were actually supposed to be talking about, the Sony movies. I think Sony movies will do very well. I think they'll be a surprise success, and since one of them I know is being done by HBO, I would like to see more collaborations with HBO because HBO are really good with their series. Like they produced Chernobyl, they produced Band of Brothers, I believe Pacific as well, which was the counterpart to Band of Brothers. Personally, all I love them all, and I really can't wait to see what they do with
Could
the
you
IPs in the future.
could you imagine a Moshi Monsters TV series in a Chernobyl style? That would be hilarious. Super serious, like super serious filming, and then all of a sudden you just got this massive orange cat dog hybrid looking thing just staring straight into the screen, just going, oh, that'd be terrifying. That'd be the worst thing I could ever watch.
It's just like realistic animation, like oh my
Yeah,
god.
exactly. Just huge eyes, with mass.
We've just lost 10 viewers for that now that you put the image in their
yeah.
head. We've lost all of our listeners. That's it. Thanks, David.
You're welcome, guys.
So, we are now going to play a game called Top 100, where each host will have to name an item from a top 100 list. If a host gets the question wrong, they have 1 life. When that life is used up and they get a question wrong again, their opponent wins the list and wins the game. So, if a host gets the question right, however, they will pass the turn on to their opponent, who will then have to answer, and we will keep going backwards and forwards until one person is eliminated. We, on today's top 100 list, we are going to be doing the all-time worldwide box office. So these are the highest grossing films of all time from the worldwide box office. And yeah. So without further ado, let's play Top 100. So after a coin toss, it is decided that David is going first. So David, when you're ready, name a movie.
So what, do I just have to name as much as I possibly can? And if I get one wrong,
Just one.
I stop.
Just name one movie.
One.
Just name one
Oh,
movie.
just name
and then
one.
it goes to
Okay.
Fletch.
All right. Well, I'm gonna name one of the biggest movies of all time.
All right.
Oh, actually, do I?
I was
No,
gonna
I'll
do it
play
as
safe.
well. No, I was gonna do it.
Yeah. No, I'll play it safe. Because that's obviously gonna be one. Star Wars
that
Episode
is-
4: A New Hope.
Ooh.
Has he paused on purpose, or is that him just not
What?
speaking?
Do I have to put one in, or does?
No.
Can
no.
you hear him?
Number
speaking?
97. Yes, I'm speaking. Jesus, guys.
Oh, right. Sorry, I can't hear
That
you.
made it in. It made it in.
That made it in barely.
97th on the list.
Okay. I
And
know
this is
which movie.
international.
I just need to think about which year
Worldwide.
because. Okay, the
Could be
movie
hard.
I've got, I need to specify the year because it's got there's another movie that's the exact same with no difference from like
I
20 years
don't.
before.
If you get the range close, it'll be fine.
Batman from the early 80s.
Batman from the early 80s. 80s
It's early
Batman.
80s. One
That
of
was
it's. I don't know
maybe if
which.
you had said like the Dark Knight or like one of the
No,
big
I wouldn't
ones.
have put that one.
He's not on the list.
Tea in the bag.
Oh.
Wait, do I just win? Do I just win?
No, I've got another.
You get
I've
one life.
got another life.
You get one life.
I've got one more
I can
chance
go for
to try and
ages,
get this.
pal. Okay,
Go on,
the
then.
obvious one that I'm talking about was Avengers Endgame. So,
Yeah, which is number 1 on the list.
of course. That was the biggest news of
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
2018.
All right.
Avatar.
Number 2 on the list.
We can do this if you want. Titanic.
Number 3 on the list.
Yeah. Let's go.
Come on. Okay.
I think I know number
Either
4.
this is going to be very,
five.
very. This is either going to go on for a long time if I get these guesses, or very short.
Right, go on then.
Let me think. You know what? I'm going to take a shot in the dark. Frozen.
Oh, Frozen is definitely
It's number 16 on the list.
Okay then.
David.
Star Wars. Actually, no. That might not be it. That might not be on there, actually. I can't remember if that was a treat. Okay, I'll just go Avengers: Infinity War. I know that's definitely on there.
Yeah, that would be on
Number
there.
5 on the list.
All right.
Yeah.
Iron Man 1.
Is not on the list.
What? I would have thought it'd be on the
Harry.
list.
Harry, you just
I
got
would have thought
named
that-
You
like
just lost the
big.
list. Okay, well, that was certainly interesting.
Oh.
Harry went out on like the first 3 movies. He only got like 1 right.
Yeah.
Unlucky
You had to
Harry.
guess the biggest movies. Oh my god.
Like,
Unlucky mate.
oh, he tried so hard. He went for some large movies.
He went for the weird ones in the beginning. That was his issue.
Yeah, that was your
He
downfall.
started off
Too obscure.
too obscure.
I mean, I'm putting it out there. You got the likes of Toy Story. Toy Story
I got
3 and 4.
I started off weird at the end, to be fair.
Believe it or not, Toy Story 1 and 2 aren't on there, but Toy Story 3 and 4 are. After that game, I can crown David the winner. And so we
Bing,
will be
bing,
playing
bing.
this again soon, where we will be doing another top 100 list and see if David can retain his title. And that concludes today's episode. If you want to find more of us, you can go follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at MindsPeoplePC. I am over on Twitter at ComplicatedHost. You can go find us on YouTube with a channel of the same name. We would appreciate it if you went and dropped us a subscribe and watch some of our videos over on YouTube. We will be doing some Among Us games as well, which we will start posting on YouTube very, very soon. If you also want to go check us out as well, we have our own website, which will be linked in the description of today's episode. And I'd also just like to thank today's hosts, Harry and David, for joining me today. And from all of us here at the Entertaining Minds of Complicated People, we love you all, and we will see you next time.